can't say it enough, I'm never giving it up. I just love it so much, I love fishing. Man, I love fishing. I can't say it enough, I'm never giving it up. I just love it so much, I love fishing. Man, I love fishing, that's just what I do. I can't say it enough, I'm never giving it up. I just love it so much, I love fishing. Man, I love fishing, that's just what I do.
From deep in the heart of Orlando, Florida, it's the Best of the Outdoors podcast. Brought to you by Texas Fishing Game Magazine, the voice of the Texas Outdoor Nation. I'm your humble host, Dustin Warncke, back with another podcast for you, live on location here in Orlando, Florida, sunny Orlando, Florida, home of Universal Studios, Disney World, so many other things here to do, and obviously great fishing country for offshore, great fishing country for inshore, great fishing country for saltwater and freshwater alike, and brackish water and all that is in between. Florida is kind of like the capital of fishing in the world, next to California and next to, obviously you have your southern states of Texas and Louisiana that aren't too shabby either. But, Florida is just kind of the kingpin of tarpon fishing and marlin and, the swordfish and all the big things like that as far as sport fishing goes. And that's why this show is held here in Florida from what I can figure. But you get a solo show with me tonight because Cal and Chester are not available, but that's okay. I will keep this kind of timely as far as what's going on in the industry. Some of the things that I'm noticing from some of our sponsors and advertisers, which is some of what I do as associate publisher here at the magazine. And then I create content and stories like this for podcast use, as well as for articles that I write and videos that I shoot. So there's just a wide variety of different things that I try to bring to you in the Texas Outdoor Nation and beyond. I know some of you listen outside of Texas, quite a few of you actually do. And so I just try to keep this relevant. And the three things that I teach that are important to any kind of media that you create, just to give you some nerdisms here, is relevance, authenticity, and engagement. Relevance, authenticity, and engagement. So if you are creating any kind of media out there, which I know a lot of you guys that hunt and fish and do things in the outdoors like to take pictures and kind of build an audience and do stuff like that, I have a course on my website at dustinsprojects.com that you can download for free off YouTube. And you can basically just learn how I create media and how I do the stuff that I do in the outdoors. It's relatively, just keeping it relevant for people that are just kind of the average everyday Joe. That's kind of the people that I help the most with my content that I create on the side for helping people build a career in this, because I started from absolutely nothing. And, I just met the right people and started talking the right language and just going from there. And it can happen. I mean, this is a dream come true for me to have this podcast and be able to talk to you guys as associate publisher of Texas Fish and Game. And I enjoy every minute of it. I don't take a minute of it for granted, guys. I don't. This has just been a dream come true for me. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time to listen, taking the time to give me your comments and your feedback, giving us a 5-star rating on iTunes so more people can find us. Also, liking and subscribing our stuff. If you're listening on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify, which is where this podcast is hosted, if you're listening at fishgame.com, drop us a line. My email is easy to find there on the advertising side, and then through the website itself, through the contact form, you can always send me an email through there, and I will hook you up with a reply and answer any questions you have, and maybe even feature a question on the show. I mean, I'm open to do all that stuff. So, and that's the other thing I was going to say going into this podcast is, what would you like to hear? We have an editorial calendar we kind of loosely put together for this show, but I mean, I like to get from you some feedback of things that you would like for me to cover. There's one guy that listens just about every episode. I forget his name right now off the top of my head, but I appreciate him. He's down in South Texas, and he talks about, wanting to talk more about hunting in South Texas and that kind of stuff, and how to do low fence hunting. And there's groups on Facebook that are completely dedicated to low fence hunting. and free range hunting and that kind of stuff, versus if you want to hear more freshwater content or saltwater content or whatever the case may be. I mean, I'm here to help you do whatever. I'm not an expert at all of this stuff. I know quite a bit of a lot of these companies, a lot of things they offer, a lot of things they help you do what you do in the outdoors even better. And that's what I'm all about. I'm after accessibility. And like Chester was saying on the podcast that we did together, the Three Horsemen did together, Cal, Chester, and myself. I guess I shouldn't call us the Three Horsemen, but the three creative brains of Texas fishing game, saltwater and freshwater and fishing coverage. And we're certainly not all of it. There's Matt Williams that does our freshwater editor, and there's a whole bunch of guides and stuff that report into my reports that I do, as well as all our saltwater reports that come in. So there's a lot of brains that go into making the magazine every month, do its thing in print and digital. But I don't even know where I was going with that. Sorry. I was basically just reiterating that there's a lot of different factors involved in how all this stuff works. And what I try to bring to you, that's where I was going with this. Chester had brought up on our last show, making the outdoors accessible. And that can be, both physically accessible as well as affordability accessible, in those two terms. And basically, making it something that's relevant to you, the person that wants to get out there in a kayak and do the surf. While we were doing the live stream last night before I recorded this show, one of the guys asked, "Hey, I need a surf kayak. I need something that I can run bait out, a bait runner in the surf." And I looked up the boat here at ICAST that I was talking about, that was the double hull inflatable kayak, and sent him the brand name for that. So if you're listening right now, whoever asked me that, I appreciate you listening. And I live to serve, guys. I mean, y'all send me emails, y'all send me some Facebook messages and stuff if you want to hear some stuff, want me to cover some stuff, or if you have questions, or you have somebody you want to have on the show that's kind of an expert in something. I mean, I'm always open to all that stuff. The show's very free form and very open to suggestions and open to steering. Obviously we talk about the great outdoors and God's creation and the conservation and wildlife and all kinds of different things like that. And we've been going strong on this thing for 4 years now, well over 4 years now. And I love doing this, guys. This is just one of the dreams come true for me, to be able to knock this out and do this. So without further ado, please subscribe to the podcast. Please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes, wherever you found us. I'm going to talk a little bit tonight when I'm shooting this in my room, and it is getting late here, so forgive me if I get a little loopy. Just going to run down some people that I've seen at the show, some products that I've done some reviews on over the years, and then some new things that are coming out that might be of interest to you. For what you do in the outdoors, especially in the fishing realm, and how you approach that with some of the best gear picks that I have for you. And of course, I'll probably do another review show pretty soon. I'm always reviewing products from Amazon. I'm reviewing products from manufacturers that send me stuff. I mean, I'm like the product review guy, I guess, these days. But there's just a lot of different innovations. It continues to get better and better every year. Things continue to improve, and I don't know how they can possibly improve on some of this stuff, but it happens. And I'm just here to kind of be the messenger to give you some ideas of what of what to look out for out there. Just give me some coffee there. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to give a dead air pause there. One of the first people the last people I saw today on the second day of the show is Havalon Knives, and they make a bunch of different types of knives. They're breaking into the fishing world with some of their knife innovations that they've got, and I highly recommend that you check them out, because they've got some fillet knife things going on. They've got some really nice blades overall, just really good, high quality. The materials that they use to make them, the grips that they use on their handles, the overall design of everything they have, the way that it's all put together, the way that you can change things out and do things like that is really cool. But Havalon Knives breaking into the fishing market, their second year, I think, here at ICAST, from what I talked to one of the gentlemen that is in charge of their marketing and sales stuff, and he says they're continuing to grow, and a lot of the hunters are coming up to him and saying, hey, this is a really cool knife that I use, but I didn't know y'all did fishing too. And I mean, the cool thing about this is that it lends itself well, a knife company getting into fishing and doing things that are fishing related, because there's so much accessibility for people that hunt and fish both that are familiar with the Avalon brand. No, there wasn't Jim Shockey here because this wasn't SHOT Show, but it was kind of cool to see them here and see the innovations they brought to fishing blades. So I highly recommend that you check out Avalon Knives. You can obviously check them out on the internet. Google Havalon, or I'll try to put a link in the description so you can check that out. Kaisek, I think is the right way to say it. Soft side coolers are really hot right now at these shows. I see a lot of people carrying them on the airplane to use to carry their beverages around while they're on vacation or while they're on a work trip like this. I saw somebody with a Yeti hopper or a Yeti backpack. I saw some Ozark Trail backpacks and soft sides. Frio, of course, which I'll get into in a minute. That's really a hot trend right now, is a soft side cooler, because they're easy to transport, and they're very versatile in what you can do with them. You can use them, this is just an idea, since I'm traveling, you can use them as a carry-on luggage piece, and you don't have to worry so much about, there being any ice or anything like that in there when you travel. But when you get to your destination that you're going to be vacationing in, or fishing in, or whatever the case may be, put ice in it after you get done, dry it out, and use it as a carry-on going back home. Really cool idea that I got from I think Jeff Brandis, or Brandis, I think is the way I say his name. Jeff Brandis from Frio is the one that came up with that idea, or somebody. It's actually the Salty Texan group, husband and wife group that started the Salty Texan at the Frio booth at the Houston Fishing Show that were telling me about that. And I don't know who innovated that idea, but I'm sure it's been around for a while. But as far as taking a soft side cooler on the airplane with you to use to keep your drinks cold while you're on your destination and using it as a carry-on is a pretty good idea. So just some food for thought there. Furthermore, a lot of clothing lines. There's just so many of them. I don't even want to name all the brands. Of course, Hook, HUK, is here. All these different, Real Trees getting into fishing stuff and fishing clothing and that kind of stuff. Gills, you've got Scales, I think, I didn't see Oceanic Gear yet, but I think they're probably here. They're into clothing. Frio is into clothing big time, and that's where they're really trying to expand. As far as they're stopping making, Frio is stopping. I'll just talk about them for a minute. They're stopping to make roto-molded coolers and moving more into soft sides and vaults, and their Bluetooth vaults and that kind of stuff. Their soft side coolers, their 6-pack carriers, their shirts, their hats, their neck gaiters. All the different things, or hoo rags, whatever you're gonna call those things. So many things going on there. Now, if you go to fishgame.com, you will most likely see a banner for the banner that I designed, actually, for Texas Fishing Game's website, of a Frio merchandise that is Texas Fishing Game branded. Really cool stuff. Soft side coolers, retro coolers. You've got some really cool cups, drinkware, shirts, hats, that kind of stuff that's really cool, that you can purchase with the Texas Fishing Game logo branded on it. And we run ads in the print magazine in the tide table section that you can see also, where it invites you to go over to the Texas Fishing Game store. And I don't have the exact website for that there, but if you just go online and visit our website and see the banner, click on the banner, it'll bring you over to the website that has all the Frio stuff, the Frio branded stuff that's branded with Texas Fishing Game logo. So it's really cool stuff. So but a lot of clothing companies, a lot of people getting into things that are very beneficial to the angler, and things that are innovative to the angler, such as the SPF shirts and the performance fishing shirts and jerseys and stuff. You see so many people walk around with all these cool jerseys and wearing all these awesome clothes and everything, and they've got all their sponsors and logos and everything, and teenagers and kids and everybody is kind of getting in that freshwater bass craze, that's kind of been the trend lately. And it's just interesting to see how far clothing companies have come doing that kind of stuff. Kayaks are huge. We talked about that in the last podcast. really overall, sales have got, inflatable kayak sales are going up. BOTE is coming up with some more inflatable things. They released one here at the ICAST show that is a really slick reinvention of some of their past products that they've had, but they make a really good inflatable kayaks. And right now, inflatable kayaks are all the rage. They're nice and rigid. They're hard to sink, as far as them puncturing with anything. You've really got to try to, because they're made of such a rigid material. But like we were talking about in the last show, the three of us did, the Chester, Cal, and I did, man, I always grew up with like the raft, and that kind of stuff. I grew up around the stuff that could, like a pool toy, as far as the build of it. These things are definitely not built like that. They are built to work. They are built to fish, and they are built for hardcore environments and harsh environments. So don't stray away from your inflatable kayaks, your inflatable sup boards, that kind of stuff. BOTE. Has made some really great innovations in that regard as far as those kind of things go. And I mean, there's just some really cool products to be seen out there. Mustad, obviously one of the premier hook companies. I mean, I fish with Mustad, I fish with Gamakatsu, obviously Eagle Claw and Owner and all the different hook manufacturers out there. Mustad is starting to come out with a little more on the lure side, the artificial lure side, of hard plastics, and they even came out with a tank that they show a octopus, like a small octopus lure, and you can even get an ink insert for it, where it actually inks, as it moves. So it looks really realistic, and the way that it floats through water and stuff like that. One of the guys was showing us on the PR side how that works, and Cal will have more about that in his Texas Fishing Game column that you can check out digitally or on our print magazine, however you subscribe or read the magazine, or read the articles and blogs and stuff that we do. Really cool stuff that is up with Mustad. I mean, they've got some really new innovative products and things like that coming on, and I just I'm a fan. I fished with Mustad hooks first, hardcore, Mustad hooks, 2017 at the Burris Media Bash, and Burris Marsh Media Bash, sorry about that. And that was a blast, and really learned a lot about how Mustad makes their hooks, as far as the wire, the way that the hooks are actually made out of the material, and how they're done versus how other hook companies do them. And they're the largest, I believe, and I know they're the oldest hook manufacturer on the planet. So they've kind of got a heck of a following here in the USA, and I mean a lot of really good things they're doing in the UK and elsewhere as well. So some good stuff there. Let's see here. Go Fish Cam. Got to meet with those guys today. Imagine something on video of watching a fish react to your lure that was something that was of value to you, to teach you what to do better next time, using video as a feedback tool. And I think it's a really cool concept, because this streams to you. This is an inline camera that goes between your bait and your rod, on the line, in line, and basically will record the fish as he comes up to strike it, record the fish if he follows it and goes away. I mean, I could just sit there and watch the videos of this thing for hours, because you actually got to see the fish come up and bite it and commit to a bait bite, or you get to see a fish, come up and follow it and then dart off to the left or the right or the up or the down. You get to see a lot of different things there that are very innovative, as far as video you can take in the water of your fish as it's attacking your bait, and as it's crushing it, or as it's slamming it and doing its thing, and then you reeling it in, and the whole process of the fish, fighting the fish and that kind of stuff, and how all that works. I mean, really cool stuff, man. I mean, so the Go Fish Cam guys, Brandon Austin, Adams, another one of the guys that I met here this show, had a great time with those guys, hanging out of their booth and just shooting the breeze and coming up with some different ideas as far as how video feedback can give you the upper edge on, and kind of the upper hand on learning something that it might take you 30 or 40 or 50 years to learn as a fisherman, faster than by using video to be a feedback tool for showing you what to do better next time. Okay, that's the simplest way to say it. So go fish cam. I'm really impressed by those guys and think that you should probably check them out as far as a fishing inline camera, underwater fishing inline camera. I almost thought they should come out with something for bow fishing. I was talking to those guys there for a while, because after you shoot a fish, have one of those inline cameras like Tim Wells has on the Relentless Pursuit on the spear, but we need to have one on the bow fishing arrow that shows the fish after it's skewered, with a bow fishing arrow. I'm getting punchy because it's late, so forgive me. Okay, also Arctic Ice, met with them this time. They're coming out with a I'm sorry, not a rotomold, but a round ice pack that'll go in the bottom of the buckets, okay, of a 5-gallon bucket if you fish with a 5-gallon bucket, of any kind of other bucket thing like a Kula bucket, which is something that came out with the boat folks. I think that they made the Kula bucket, BOTE boat folks made those, and really a round ice pack that goes down in the bottom of your cooler to keep your dove cold, and your meat and your cheeses and your beer and whatever, if you're out in the dove field and it's hot, if you're fishing, if you're jerking perch, if you're just pan fishing on the bank, to keep your worms cold, just all kinds of different stuff there. But these are stackable, and they're very, very diverse as far as the design, because you can reach down in the middle of them is the hole where you can pick up and get leverage on them, and it's really easy to pick up and get out of the bucket when you're done, or put into the bucket when you're starting out. They're really maneuverable for something that's round that goes into a bucket. They have a hole in the middle that you can pick them up, and the hole's like the size is perfectly shaped for your hand to go in there and pick up that ice pack. So kind of cool stuff. So I like that stuff. Obviously the Alaskan series, the Tundra series, the Chill and Brew series. I use Arctic Ice every chance I get for parties. I use it for keeping my beer cold when I go fishing. I use it for keeping my deer cold when I go hunting. Or we have, the case in the live sale work that I do, we have a deer that ends up having an unfortunate end. We can salvage that meat. And I've been using the crud out of the Arctic Ice just as far as keeping ice frozen longer. Keeping things cold without having to use as much ice. I mean, there's just a lot of different benefits to that. And I'm not saying you should replace all your ice with that, because you need ice for your drinks and stuff like that. But I am saying that it's a very convenient, easy way to use ice packs for cooler use without having to spend as much money on ice. And if you are like me, you like to buy your ice by the 10-pound or 20-pound bag, and that gets expensive pretty quick. So ice packs help pay for themselves pretty much the first time you use them. But ice packs help the whole grand scheme of things. Saving money is one of the things that I'm very big about as a sportsman. So very good. Line Cutters is here. I got to hang out with some of those guys, as seen on Shark Tank, as they have on their listing, on their booth listing. A lot of new creative things there. I used one the last time I went out fishing on a boat. Loved the convenience of having a cutting tool right there on my ring, so I get my ring fingers. I can just cut line and retie and do whatever I've got to do, especially on the fly, especially if you're saltwater fishing, especially if you get hooked up with a big shark and you need a quick way to disconnect from it. Just a lot of different uses for having a line cutting tool that does not get in the way most of the time, and is very convenient and very non-invasive as far as cutting anything but line. So there's definitely something there too. So I'm going to flip through my list here. Outdoor Edge Cutlery was here. Obviously, they make a lot of different knife products. They're also getting more into, and I talked about this at the SHOT Show coverage, they're getting more into field-to-table stuff. All right, so they had a lot of their knife products out, but they also have a wide variety of, a game cleaning kit. They've got a wide variety of different pocket knives, and then you have your exchangeable blades, and you've got your everyday carry blades. And that's the other thing I was going to say about Havalon. They're coming out with an everyday carry blade here pretty soon. But Outdoor Edge has really got some good stuff. And then all these knife companies have great things, but it's not just that they have great things, it's that they have great things in their own respect. You almost want to buy one of each of everything that they have, not like their whole SKUs of all their catalogs, but they each have their own, pluses. They have their own benefits. They have their own features that are unique from each other. So they're not trying to copy each other. They're just basically, trying to lead the way to do things, a different way, and how they see the outdoors and the way that the innovations are for it. So it's really cool. Pop Hat was here. I need to stop by and see him tomorrow before I leave. David Cachadorian, the guy that started that thing. I plugged that in an article that I wrote for the August issue that should be coming out. It should be out by the time this goes live. On a hat that fits in your pocket. It folds up like a little frisbee or anything would fold up, and it's a nice wide brim hat. It keeps the sun off your neck and your face. I mean, Pop Hat. So check those guys out. They're just getting in their first major shipment of that for the retail public, and I'm really excited for a new company or newer company that's coming out with something that innovative and that cool of a hat you can put in your pocket, a nice wide brim hat you can put in your pocket, and keep the sun off your head and your shoulders. It's just a really good idea. Power Pole celebrating 20 years this year. Wow. They started in 1998 with John Oliverio, who I've had a couple of cold beverages with over the years, and I fished with one time back in 2017 at one of the fishing events I attended. And started to just wanted to have a way to stop his boat, a stealthy way to stop his boat, not spook the fish, and stay on the fish. And that company has innovated all kinds of cool stuff. Like I said, we just did a digital special program. They have the Charge, which is the battery saver or battery management and power system. They've got all the different power pole models. They've got the micro. They've got the Sportsman. They've got the different types of standard size and small size power poles for your motorized boat, for your large boat, or for your bay boat, bass boat, that kind of thing, or for your kayak, like the micro. Really a lot of good things to say about them, what they're up to these days. So I definitely want to give them some love as well. So earlier I met with Yozuri. They've got a lot of different great things going on their end of things. They've been a sponsor of ours for a number of years now, and we really love the Yozuri products that they have. The knuckle baits, you've got crank baits, you've got the 3D inshore twitch, all the different things that the Yozuri has. A lot of innovations on the lines that they have as far as fishing line goes. A lot of innovations on the lures and the colors and the shapes and the rattle baits and crank baits and things like that they have. I mean, there's just a ton of stuff to say about Yozuri and what they're up to, and I just really have the honor to work with those guys because they really know what they're doing on the water and catching fish, and they have a lot of pros that work for them and everything like that. And I mean, there's just a lot of really cool things going on there. So Yozuri baits you can find just about anywhere. Some great stuff. So, and the other thing I was gonna say, just to kind of make this a full rounded show, and I'm losing my voice, so forgive me if I'm tweaking here every once in a while with my voice and go like that. I really want to also say something about Wiley X sunglasses, because we had a meeting with them. Protecting your eyes, not just from the sun, but from hunting accidents, from fishing accidents, when weights come back and slingshot and go in your face instead of going in the water, going past your face, going past your head. One of the fond stories I told when I was a kid, is whacking my dad, with a mouse lure, because I was doing my side casting, and he wasn't expecting that or whatever, and it all turned out okay. Nobody lost an eye or anything like that, but I mean, it could have been bad, and people do lose eyes and stuff like that out there in the hunting and fishing world, from hunting accidents and fishing accidents. And so basically what I'm saying is, it's not a bad idea to have a good pair of sunglasses like a Wiley X pair that are durable, that will keep your eyes protected long term from the dangers of things that go flying. All right, Chester Moore was telling a story in our meeting about somebody that basically got a little bit of bird shot on them because they were out of the, not bird shot but duck load shot on them because and duck just at the right time because they were at the wrong place at the wrong time, and somebody was being unsafe and swinging in a zone they shouldn't swing in and shooting. And there's definitely some dangers in the waters, and there's dangers in the woods that we need to watch out for. And having a good pair of sunglasses, Dustin Ellerman, my good buddy, other brother Dustin, wears Wiley X sunglasses in his shooting and in all of his marksman camps and stuff like that, and in his article work that he does for us. And a lot of good things coming down the pipe for them. They're getting into a women's series, the True Women's Series. They're coming out with a lot of new things there, and obviously you can buy those at your local Academy Sports and Outdoor store. A lot of the other major retailers that carry Wiley X, but Wiley X, has kind of a military grade look to them and a military grade, performance element there. So there's a lot of good things to do. To think about, when you're buying a pair of sunglasses, whether it's a Costa or a Wiley X or an off-brand or anything like that. I mean, there's just so many guys getting into. Red Tail Republic, is one of the companies that goes to all the Texas shows. They've got some great sunglasses. So there's a lot of different sunglass things out there. But Wiley X, as far as protecting your eyes from things that are flying in your face, is really they make a really strong pair of sunglasses. So I'm not going to concentrate just on one brand, but I just want to at least give you some food for thought on wearing sunglasses to protect your eyes from the sun, but also to protect your face and your eyes from flying things in the woods and in the waters. So there you go. Today I was, and here's the other thing. Last night I went to a party. It was sponsored by Bubba Blade. They had a big blowout because they are relaunching that brand. American Outdoor Brands bought Bubba Blade. I think I talked about this at the podcast that I did back in November with our friends from Pete Kershker and Josh Neville. And Pete Kershker actually interviewed on this show on the same microphone. And basically, Pete was at the party, Josh was at the party, Josh Neville, the whole group of guys that represent the marketing department there are doing a great job. They've got 45-degree pliers. They've got standard pliers. They've got all with the Bubba Blade wrap on them. They've got Bubba Blade from 7-inch, 9-inch, 12-inch stiffies versus flexes, flex blades and that kind of stuff. Their new thing this year, they're doing a hard relaunch on, or a hard full launch on. They can hardly keep it in stock. It is going so well. Is their electric knife. They have a corded and a cordless model, and I'm talking about power, guys. I'm talking about the last knife you may ever need as far as an electric knife. Because I've burned through a few knives, guys, and if you know me, I like to clean a lot of fish. I do clean a lot of fish, especially catfish for my fishing ministry, Crosswater Outfitters, where we serve international students and soldiers and their families. And I clean a lot of fish, including gar and buffalo and carp and stuff for cut bait and that kind of stuff. But then we clean our catfish for our fish fries and stuff like that. And the Bubba Blade itself is just a great fillet knife all the way around. It really has a lot of different characteristics that make it one of the best saltwater knives I've ever used. But as far as freshwater too, I mean, there's a whole market there. It's kind of untapped that is still using the old school fillet knives or the old school electric knives and stuff. And Bubba Blade kind of threw the gauntlet down in the industry when they came out with the new electric knives, because they really have a wide variety of uses. You can use the smaller blades like the 10 inchers all the way up to, I think they have an 8-inch blade. Don't quote me on that. I think they've got an 8-inch, a 10-inch, and a 12-inch blade, and you can mix and match those. You can accessorize on the blades and get more of one size if you use that more than the other, depending on what you fish for. If you're fishing for saltwater, you're gonna have different needs for a sturdier, bigger, longer knife than you will for freshwater, for having a smaller fish and smaller needs like that. But basically, the torque on something like this, the pure energy, the compounding gears, if you will, of that motor has to keep up with the demand. And they have built American Outdoor Brands, who own Smith & Wesson and Caldwell and Bog and all these other really cool outdoor brands that you're probably familiar with in the hunting world. Their engineers worked day and night on this and came out with, I think, probably one of the best fillet knives I've ever held as far as electric goes. And then I think one of the very best fillet knives that I own is a Bubba Blade, and all of my family members are starting to like catch on. It's like a viral thing. There's catching on that, you know, this is like really cool. Dustin really likes to use this because it is durable. It doesn't rust. It's got a titanium coating on it. It stays sharp, long. It's just a really great thing. The other thing they're coming out with is nets, gaffs, and like I say, the pliers, the electric knives. I mean, they're doing a hard relaunch right now of the Bubba Blade brand since American Outdoors acquired them, you know, a little over a year ago. And it is just balls to the wall. I mean, it is just awesome. And just to see them, they took a 70-pound tuna at the ICAST show on the show floor and cut it up and butchered it and served it, part of it, the other day. I guess it was yesterday on the show floor. 70-pound tuna. I don't know how much of it got eaten, but they had a professional chef come in there and use a Bubba Blade on a real 70-pound tuna in their booth at the show. And I walked by there and everybody was gathering around looking, and I was just like, holy crud, you know, these guys are actually butchering a tuna. You know, I've never seen a tuna that close in person live get butchered at an ICAST show of all places. You know, I've seen, you know, big fish get cleaned in places, you know, a lot, but never a show floor like this. It was pretty unprecedented. So watching that, and then today I think they filleted red snapper. They were doing snapper ceviche, and anyway, I'm going back by there tomorrow to see if they you know, they're doing anything like that Friday, the day the show shuts down. But it's just really cool stuff, guys. I mean, this is just the stuff the dreams are made of. Something like this is really good consideration for a fillet knife and just for an everyday, you know, go-to knife. I use my Bubba Blade to cut up the prime rib for Christmas. I got a Bubba Blade from my father-in-law. He uses it for just about everything. There's just great knives, and they have like a cult following because they're such so well made, and the American Outdoor Brands has kind of improved them even more so. But the electric knife, guys, I'm telling you, I've been an American Angler fan for a long time. I have nothing wrong with American Angler. I love their knives. I have one of them. They're about $50-$60. You buy them on Amazon. The thing, though, is that what Bubba Blade is took that same idea with the torque and the important, you know, aspects of what makes a good fillet knife good and not wear out so fast as a lot of the other cheaper brands. And I don't mean the American brand of American Angler brand. I'm talking about the cheap ones like you find at Academy and places like that. And I will not name any brand names, but I've had some of those not last a weekend, guys, when I get to cleaning fish like we clean fish at Crosswaters, okay? You know, we've had knives that we've had to take back and return as a group, you know, that we bought for the club or bought for the ministry, that have not lasted a day because of the extreme use that we put them under, and they weren't designed really for that kind of use. But what Bubba Blade's come out with their, you know, technology and the torque and the way the blades work and kind of grind down on those compounding gears and get through that hard bone and just really do a great job of reciprocating, which is what a good electric knife should do, in two different catch points too, instead of just one like a lot of fillet knives have, and the blades come apart and it's a big problem. They've really engineered and thought a lot of the issues out of, you know, things. And you know, I'm not gonna say it's the best knife ever, but I mean it's darn close, okay, in my humble opinion. But I love all the knives. I mean, I've got a wide variety of fillet knives, but the Bubba Blade is just one that's near and dear to me that I like to use because it just really has a lot of different good characteristics that make it, you know, one of my fillet knives of choice. So there you go. That's not really commercial for them, but I at least just wanted to throw that out there, that I've had a lot of good success with Bubba Blade stuff. So really cool stuff. 13 Fishing coming out with baits. They started, I think, last year coming out with baits. 13 Fishing rods and reels. Really a lot of different SKUs that they have of rods and reels for inshore, for freshwater, for saltwater. They've got the Fate, they've got the I can't even remember all the different brands that they are, all the different titles they have in series of rods that they have, but they've got everything for your baitcaster, the Muse, the Fade. I'm trying to remember all the different names, but anyway, they've got a bunch of different names. But they've got anything from your saltwater to your freshwater, from your light, medium, heavy rods. They've got anything from your bait casters or your spinning rods and so on and so forth. They just really have a lot of really good lightweight stuff, and then heavier weight things for your fishing and angling pleasure out there. And then their baits that they've come out with, soft plastics and some hard stuff too. It's hard plastics. They basically have come out with a whole line of different things that have kind of made them more diverse in the marketplace and more robust in what they have to offer, the consumer. And I mean, they're really, that's the thing about all this, guys, is, and I'll kind of wrap up the show because this has been going on for a while. The thing with all of this is, and I won't stop before I do this. I've got two other things I got to talk about, but before I do that, I'll finish the thought about 13 Fishing. These companies are all getting together and coming up with some of the best of the best of the best ideas, and really innovating them so they work for the angler, they work for the end user, they work for the person that's going to buy this product. The competition at a show like this is fierce. They have big awards categories for best in show. That's like the biggest thing. It's like a dog show, man. I mean, it is a serious thing where these guys get together, and we have voting from the public, from all the ICAST attendees, from the media attendees that get a preview of the new product, just showcase apparel, and lures and rafts and you got your let me think, your boats, your kayaks and your boating accessories and all that other stuff. Giant room full of all that stuff that you vote on, and then you get awarded best of show, or a lot of different other rewards that basically come out and recognize the companies that are most innovative for the year. And the thing that really blows me away is that every year my jaw drops. There's something that looks so realistic, that I'm just amazed by. There are companies from Australia. One of those is Nomad Design. I talked about them on the podcast. I interviewed Damien, I think was his name, from Nomad Design back in November of last year. And really, I mean, holy smokes. I mean, these guys, they have a tracking mechanism on their troll baits, that make them track straight, and innovations like that. And you have bluegill and stuff like the 13 Fishing. I was looking at in Live Target, and these companies like this, they have these baits, these swim baits and things that look like they're just real as can be. You want to just stick a knife and fillet them. They look so real. Mullet, and we were joking around about on the last podcast that we recorded together, the lovely croakers, that look so realistic. Live Target's got a croaker, it looks really realistic, and to make some of the croaker soaker opponents, angry. But it's so many things for fresh and salt water, and I mean just so many realistic things that really will fool a bass into making that wary fish, into making that bass or that redfish or that trout slam that lure. And that's all a benefit to you guys and me both, for who's listening to this, who's consuming these products, who's getting out there on the water, who's fishing. These things are all of benefit to you, and that's why I bring things like this and brands like this up on this podcast, because they really make a lot of sense. All right. Last two I'm going to talk about is Okuma Fishing. Lots of different things from them, all right? They're coming out with a new bait line, all right? And I'm going to do some news release stuff on the web for them as well. I got a flash drive that I'm going to be taking home and doing some promotion of some stories and some new gear releases and stuff like that they've got. The rods and reels that they have, I mean, I fish with an Okuma every chance I get because it's one of the smoothest casting, easiest running rod and reel combos that I own in my arsenal of rod and reel combos. I've got a spinning reel. I also have a bait casting reel from them. Both of them are fantastically made. There's just a lot of great things. Cal Gonzalez did a couple of Facebook Lives. You can look up his Facebook profile, and he'll I'll try to share those in the fishgame.com or the Texas Fishing Game Facebook page too, you can see what's going on with them, and kind of check out the different parts of Cal's coverage of the show. And Okuma has some really good stuff, from fishing line to artificial lures, baits, and then also rods and reels. I mean, they're another one like 13 Fishing that's really getting into a robust, dynamic offering that's more comprehensive, is what I'm trying to say. It's kind of a $5 college word, but all inclusive, and really for the angler, and so they can buy all things their brand. So that's the way it goes. Last one I want to bring up is Reeler Shield. Okay, Keith Pittman, good buddy of mine. Keith and I have known each other for at least 4 or 5 years now, and he has come out with a sunscreen that goes on, and I've talked about this in this podcast before. I've talked about this in the review show that I've done before. I want to reiterate this, okay, because you can order this stuff online, and it's starting to get into some of the stores, and some of the retail stuff is starting to happen now with it. But Reeler Shield is what to look for. You can Google this and find it out. REELER Shield, SHIELD, Reeler Shield sunscreen. Okay, this stuff is like a little mini speed stick. It looks like a mini deodorant stick. It goes on clear. All right, if you do it real heavy, it kind of goes on wide a little bit, but it is really high quality sunscreen. It is a natural sunscreen that repels the sun rays. It does not absorb into your skin as far as a lot of the chemical sunscreens do, and then act as a repellent. After the sun penetrates, repels it. This stops the sun from penetrating the skin. And that's the difference between a natural or versus a chemical sunscreen. I learned that today from him. This stuff is so cool. I used this product all summer, this summer, last summer. I just really enjoy something that's eco-friendly, and parts of the world reef-friendly. And there's some places in the world, I think Florida is one of the states that is banning certain types of sunscreens because they are harmful for the environment if they get into the water. And most of the time when you use a sunscreen, it's going to leave a mess. It's going to be jelly, or a gel like your sunscreen gels out there, your sunscreen creams and lotions and stuff like that. They get messy. This is not messy at all. This is something kids, even my son Jackson, likes to use. It's the only sunscreen he wants to use because it goes on clean. It's not messy. It's not gel. It's not lotion. It's a speed stick. It's like putting on deodorant on your face. And rubbing it in, and putting it on your neck, and putting it around your ears and your earlobes, and then putting it on your arms. That's where I use it the most, is on my arms and my hands and stuff like that. And really clean. You don't feel like you have to take a shower immediately when you get home, because you don't feel gross, because it's sunscreen and the chemicals have penetrated your skin and all that stuff. So I mean, what Keith has done with Reeler Shield is really monumental. A natural sunscreen solution that is eco-friendly, that is reef-friendly, that has a lot of great benefits. And I'm going to have him on the show probably within the next few months. We're going to do a sunscreen awareness and sun protection awareness show. And he's going to also do some sponsorship stuff with us. I'm excited about that. We talked about that today. But just all of this stuff, guys, is all to benefit you. The reason why I do this podcast is a labor of love. I don't make a ton of money doing this podcast. I love to do this to give you value, extra added value, and something that you can use and take home with you and enjoy with your family. Whether that's fish, whether that's a rod and reel product, whether that's a sunscreen that you can put on your kids without having to worry about getting in, all over their eyes. Oh, the other thing on sunscreen I was going to say, Keith was talking about, how a lot of people, they use aerosols, and breathing in aerosols is not a good thing. When you ask your kids to close their eyes so you can spray their face with the sunscreen and stuff, that's not the best thing for them to be breathing in, that aerosol stuff. The chemicals in that are pretty harmful to the lungs. So there's definitely some synergies there with using something like a speed stick something like a deodorant to use instead of using something like a gel. So just some thoughts like that on for that kind of stuff. So anyway, I'm back again with another podcast coming up. Thank you guys so much for checking out our show. Thank you so much for downloading this podcast, for streaming it online, however you're listening. Thank you so much for doing so. And please, 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 please subscribe to the show. Please check out our newsletters at fishgame.com. Check out all of our blog content. Tell your friends about the show, and thank you for doing so. And I just love to have more listeners. Love to have, just love keeping this thing going, man. This is great. I really enjoy it. And also, again, if you've not done so already, you get a new show every 2 weeks, so you can subscribe to the podcast on any podcast platform, including Podbean, which is where this podcast originates from. There's a Podbean app you can download. So if you're listening on Facebook or YouTube or at fishgame.com, you can always download this show on your phone and take it with you wherever you go, and not have to worry about it streaming or anything like that, or buffering or whatever happens sometimes with that kind of stuff. So anyway, just some ideas for you. Thank you guys so much for watching, reading, and listening. I love you all very deeply, and I cannot thank you from the bottom of my heart enough that you take the time to download this stuff and listen to, let me be in your earbuds in your head, or however you listen, every 2 weeks. I mean, it's just an honor for me to be able to do this. So thank you guys so much for doing that. As I say at the end of every show, thank you so much for watching, reading, and listening. Have an awesome day in the outdoors. We'll see you next time.